If you're running a business and you're making 200K, 500K a year or more, you're in the right place. Because right now, you might be drowning in operations, working nights, working weekends, losing time on what actually matters. So I'm going to put you on to exactly how you can use AI to change all of that. But not through hype and not through fear mongering, but through pure strategy. Because if you're struggling to implement AI into your business, then you're probably approaching it with the wrong mindset. In this video, I'm going to help you break through that. What up, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Quintel, consultant for small businesses so you can stop wasting time on busy work and start locking in on more strategy and get more clients to grow their business. How do I do that? I do it by helping them implement AI to take care of all of the admin so they can cut costs, save time, and scale up. And in this video, I'm going to show you what that's all about. Prior to this, I founded Good Part Company, a plant-based health cafe and juice bar located right here in Baltimore. It became the first ever juice bar on the campus of Johns Hopkins. Along the way, I became the first black food service partner at Johns Hopkins as well. Now, when I had that juice bar, I couldn't even answer the phone. I couldn't kick it with the customers. I couldn't do special events. We was hosting little powwows in the shop, and I lost control of all of that because I was too busy making smoothies, making juices, making smoothie bowls. So I know what it's like to have to wear too many hats at one time within my business. And then November 2022 came. And that's when I started learning how to use AI for my juice bar. And now I help other business owners gain leverage by using AI, using systems the same way I did. So in this video, I'm going to break down 4 non-obvious lessons about using AI in your business. These are the same lessons that every entrepreneur who's successful implementing AI understand, right? And you might be overlooking them. So I'm going to break them down one by one so that we can get ahead of the game. My mission has always been about freedom and autonomy and getting rich. And that's for myself and for other black business owners. And if you own or operate a business, you can't have freedom if you get trapped in the repetitive work day in and day out. So in this video, we're going to fix that. I ain't going to waste too much more of your time. Let's get into it. Now, lesson number 1, AI automation isn't actually about automation. It's about getting leverage. It's not all about the big tech talk, the billion-dollar unicorns, and the fancy tech tools. It's about shifting your mind to the outcomes you get from AI. It changes everything for you. It's really about becoming results-oriented, not task-oriented. When people first hear about AI automation, they thought it meant one thing. We're going to replace our whole staff. We're going to automate everything and never have to touch the business again. Like it's just some big passive income fantasy. And that's not real, not for most businesses, right? The real for real is that that idea is really exploding and it's leading people down the wrong path, especially service providers, because they're looking for every which way to automate tasks, get it off their plate so they can do the thing that they're really good at. Now, everybody is hyping up all of these massive AI agents, and they could be pretty helpful, right? But they can't handle everything from end to end. They can step in and take care of things like booking meetings, sending emails, running your whole operation without any kind of human involvement. It's not realistic. In the real world, those systems break, right? Half the time, they create more problems than they solve because a lot of people are still beginners when it comes to AI automation. And the best business owners I know, they learn fast. When they're using AI, they realize that full automation is not the real goal. They start thinking more about leverage. What can this get done for me? How can I replace myself in this step? And then in the next step, or who can I get to run this part? Right? We have delegation and then we have automation. And those things provide leverage. So instead of trying to automate everything, you need to understand the Pareto principle. That's the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your outcome or your output comes from 20% of your input. Essentially, you do less with AI to get more out of your time. So AI is going to take over a majority of a task, but not all of it. And it may not be a perfect 80-20 breakdown. It will look a lot more like this when you're implementing AI into your business. First, you're going to automate the first 60% of a process. And this is one of those administrative processes, that boring process, a repeatable process, something that you do once a day, multiple times a day, or multiple times a week, right? The things that drain your creative energy, that take up mental bandwidth and prevent you from getting to the most important tasks, right? These might be a lot of urgent administrative types of things. That next 30%, you're going to use AI like an assistant, right, to assist you through some of these human processes, the process that require you adding context, you using your judgment to determine what needs to get done. And then you can scale that up to either maybe refine some writing around something, or give you extra data, extra input, or tie together some points that you didn't see, but you gave in context, okay? And then the last 10%, that might be fully manual. That's when you give it your full personal touch because you have a better understanding of what's happening on the ground, in the real world, talking to customers, understanding their voice inflections, knowing when they're upset. That's the mix for your business that's going to help things move faster, leaner, and more profitable without you actually losing the soul of what you do by trying to push everything off onto AI. And so the question you should be asking is not how do I automate everything? The question you should be asking is, where does AI get me the most leverage? And what's the mix? What's the ratio of AI versus human interaction? Right? So I'll give you a quick story. From 2010 to 2012, I went to FIT for fashion design, right? Specifically graphic design for fashion. So I learned some lessons in the basement of FIT because that's where our class was, in the basement. You go in, you go downstairs, right? So basically under the Met, where they host like the Met Gala and all that good stuff. What I learned is know when to add something, know when to subtract something, and know when to just leave something alone. Some outfits are perfect how they are. Some fashion designs, like a coat or a jacket, it's one too many pockets, it's one too many zippers. You got to know when to add, when to subtract. And sometimes you just got to let stuff rock. And the same thing applies to AI. You don't need to automate everything just for the sake of automating, right? You kind of have to architect it. You have to design the system. You have to design your business so that it serves your life and doesn't consume your life. So it's best for you to change your mind from how do I automate things with AI and start thinking about how do I get more leverage? Because later in this video, I'm going to drop a secret on you that most people don't know about improving their business operations. But for now, your job is to apply that AI ratio to every problem you face in your business. An example that impacts business, right? Not just learning how to design graphics at FIT, right? That was skill development. Now let's talk about money making. Following up with leads. So many service-based businesses struggle with following up with leads. You got prospects. They express interest in your business. They filled out some kind of form. Maybe they sent you a DM. But now you got to follow up. And all of that follow-up, it just kind of kills your time. You're spending so much time in the DMs or responding or checking back every few minutes to see if somebody returned your message. Here's how you got to break it down. The first 60%, the boring stuff like logging into your CRM or scheduling calls or sending back the link, you can automate that. You can fully automate that. You can have a person respond yes, and the very next link they get or message they get says, okay, great, here's a link for a calendar, pick a time that works for you. You can automate that. You don't even have to use AI for that part, right? The next 30%, that's where you may need a little bit of judgment. You might have to write a personalized outreach, right? But you can make it a template, and now you have an AI draft based on the lead's information and the way that you respond to their info. So there you have it. The human interaction with the AI getting you better, more personal results. And then you just send that off. And then the last 10%, that's when it comes down to closing the deal. A lot of times people don't even get to this last 10% because they missed the actual follow-up. But that last 10%, that's when you hop on the phone, find out what the real problems are, find out how you can help, and then you get to offering your results and solving that problem for your clients and for your customers. Now here's the thing. Once you get used to that though, once you go through that process and you understand where you can implement AI for that first 60%, you still might can use AI for the last 10% to do research beforehand, right? So now you can study a lead or you can get a summary of your previous conversation. Now you got better talking points. Now they feel like you really know them because you already know their point of view. You know what you talked about in the DMs. So it's not replacing you, it's assisting you to make sure that you got leverage when it comes to expanding your deals, getting more clients, getting more customers, and making things happen. Now I found that this ratio, right, this Pareto principle, understanding the principle that the majority of the work can be done by AI, applies all across the board, from finance to working with mortgage lenders, working with marketing agencies, or just straight up helping people improve their operations. For example, onboarding new hires. A lot of people don't like having to spend time on it. It eats up a lot of time. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of training documents, but you can build the culture around that. That's the human part. That's the 10%, right? Supporting your team. That's a 10%. You don't automate that part. What you automate is standardizing your operating procedures, right? Your SOPs. Maybe recording the training, depending on what kind of job it is. Record the task. Use a video screen recorder, and then take the notes from that and have AI process it into a readable document. Now you can hand those off for onboarding. So the ratio is flexible, but the principle is to understand that you don't think just about full automation. You think about where AI can give you the most leverage and get more of your time back. Think about it like this. If you can use AI to improve or automate 70% of a 10-hour process, it means you get back 7 hours every single time that process runs. So that's 7 hours a week. Multiply that by 4. Now you got 28 extra hours a month. That's a whole full day. A day you can either take off. A day you can work on some business strategy. A day you can go do some better network and have more meetings. Work on higher leverage things. Those are the superpowers that you get by using AI the right way. Lesson number 2. Most people fail with AI because they're trying to do too much. They see everything is cool, it's new, every day it's a new feature dropping, it's a new tool, it's the XYZ killer we know, we hear all about it. You hear about a new AI tool and your instinct is to go wide. And then you try to learn every tool, every shiny new app, you say yes to everything, but you don't learn much. Right? On the surface, you feel smart. I go through it all the time. Right? You learn about a new tool, right? You learn about more capabilities, and you feel like you got more chances to win. You got more leverage. But the real truth is that destroys your leverage because you don't know how to properly apply these tools that you're spending so much time learning about. And you're getting that little dopamine hit by learning how to do something, or you figure out one little trick here on this tool, one trick on that tool, but it's really slowing you up from improving your business and getting the leverage that you need. I'm a prime example of this, right? I fell for it hard. Once I discovered a certain category, for example, I was helping a dentist implement like a chatbot, and then I became like a little chatbot boy. Every time I would go and study one trick, I'd be like, what other tools do they have that do this or do that, right? Very specific features. Some of them you could do with RAG, and it's like kind of the early stages of it, or you can actually have AI implemented, and now AI can respond automatically. You don't have to build out so much backend and logic for the chatbot. It was a mess. It was terrible. But let me tell you what I did different. This really helped, and it helped me understand a lot. I picked a couple core tools, and then I went deep on those tools. And as I was studying more and more, and I chose what tricks or features I'm going to sacrifice, the tool actually catches up because all of the other competition, everybody's going to get access to what the competitors have, right? So they're going to get access to more information, right? As the video models improve, as the photo models improve, everybody's going to get access to it. And then it helped me get over that fear of missing out. So now I'm not chasing every new AI release, that every little viral trend that I see on X or anything like that. I was paying attention to the market, of course, but I wasn't committed to trying to master all those tools. Okay, so for me, the core tools I dug in on was ChatGPT at the time, now it's Claude, Notion, and Lovable. I got a great handle on those. I can apply those to anything in my business and anything to most other people's business, right? So that depth, that's what's going to give you the edge when you're trying to implement AI tools into your business. I'm sure you heard the saying before, it's better to go an inch wide and a mile deep than the inverse, right? Going a mile wide and an inch deep. Nowadays, it pays to be a generalist. At the speed of all of these AI features, you can learn a lot in a little amount of time, but you still have to go deep enough to separate yourself. You're digging for diamonds. Diamonds are the real treasure, right? And the only way you get the diamonds is if you dig deep. Now, this doesn't just apply to AI tools. This applies to focus in general, right? Focus is a muscle. You got to train it over and over again. When I ran my juice bar, I tried to do everything. I was making juice, smoothies, doing the inventory, marketing the business, managing the staff. I was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. When I use AI, got my SOPs together, especially for inventory. Now I could offload that to the team, and I could focus on the one thing that they could not do, which was marketing, right? And so it helped me become better at marketing my business and making those customer connections, making those business connections. And that's what's going to happen to you as you start to get better and better using these tools. You'll realize that more activity doesn't mean more success, and therefore you'll prevent yourself from burning out. So let me keep it plain and simple as we wrap up lesson number 2. Stop trying to do everything. Pick the core AI tools that get results in your business and that solves problems. Go deep, master them for the time that you need to do so, and then expand once you have real competency. That's the best way that you can use AI in business to get leverage. That leverage comes from depth, and not trying to do too much. Now, lesson number 3, this might be the most difficult thing that I've come across personally and when I'm having conversations with a lot of other really talented entrepreneurs. They try to make things too complex. Complexity fails, simplicity scales. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of great ideas. Or if you're already running that 6-figure business, you have a lot of things that you want to get done. But the less that you do, the more that gets done. Like they say, less is more. It's really difficult to understand because you feel pulled in so many directions. But you really got to block out the distractions and get locked in. And when people first get into AI, they love building these massive, complex systems, or just saying, yeah, I'm using ChatGPT for this, that, and the third. They got 10 different tools talking to each other. I'm telling you, all you got to do is log on to Twitter right now. I promise you, log on to Twitter right now, log on to YouTube, type the words N, the letters N8N. You're going to see all these crazy workflows all stacked up with all these different tools talking to each other. And it's looking crazy, right? But it looks impressive But the demos, they work well. They look good online. They might even look good at a conference, right? It might wow you in real life because AI has a lot of wow factor. But the real problem is that in the real world, those systems break. Every time you add something, there's more potential for it to mess up. And it doesn't mean you don't need some of these steps. But if you can keep it simple, it's going to work in your favor. But let's take it away from AI and let's think about how it applies all across the board for most businesses. Most businesses keep things super simple. Like right now in Baltimore, and this is popular around the world, not around the world, but at least in the US, let's take, for example, Raising Cane's. So Raising Cane's is pretty new to Baltimore. It's only been here for less than 2 years. The company is worth $9 billion. All they sell is chicken fingers. The founder, Todd Graves, that's what he's passionate about. Chicken fingers. And he keeps it this way intentionally. So when you go to Raising Cane's, all you're going to get is chicken fingers, a couple sides, something to drink. That's it. You want a chicken sandwich? Fine. Chicken fingers between 2 pieces of bread, and that's what you get. And now he's scaled to $9 billion, and he owns the vast majority of this business, like 90% or something. You can do your Googles on that one. But the moral of the story is that simplicity scales, complexity fails, and it's really hard to resist being complex for a lot of different reasons, right? For ego, because or fear of missing out, or you're comparing yourself to what you see working for somebody else. But if you want your business to be reliable internally, like amongst you and your team, and externally as you provide service to your customers and your clients, keep it simple, okay? It took me a lot of time to learn this, and I'm making this video so that you can just skip that part of the learning curve, keep it simple, and start to getting things working at a higher level in a shorter amount of time. So I just said it's a lot of different reasons that prevent you from trying to simplify, right? For me, my bachelor's degree is in philosophy. So to a certain extent, a lot of my ego is attached to trying to be smart about things. I know you're already judging me, like what the hell who goes and studies philosophy for a career? I know I ain't really know any better, but what I did learn from that degree is to question everything. And as I got better and better at business, I started to question the complexity of a lot of things I'm doing. Just because it was done this way by somebody else doesn't mean I have to do that. And when it comes to automation, it's the same thing. Like I'm looking at these tools and these systems, and I'm like, oh, well, I understand the logic, but what's the simplest version of this that's going to get something done for me? What's the simplest version of this that can send this email? What's the simplest tool I can use to get this done? That mindset didn't change or make things easier to manage. It made things easier to scale, because that boring, simple workflow that saves you 10 hours a week, that's worth more than a flashy AI agent that looks cool but needs consistent babysitting. Either you got to do it, you got a VA to do it, or you might have somebody on your team, may not even trust them to do the right thing. But simplicity is where it's at when it comes to using these AI tools. The real value in setting up AI systems is not in how many steps your system has. It's in how much time the system saves and how reliable it runs. If you know that certain processes are going to be completed on time or ahead of time, you have so much more confidence in yourself, in your team, and in your business. So whenever I build systems now, I always ask, what's the simplest possible version of this that still solves the problem? And I try to remove as much of the decision making and the AI complexity as I can, because every extra layer is an extra potential point of failure. And so you're probably thinking about that, like, but won't somebody look at my system and be like, well, that's too basic? No, not at all, especially if it's a customer, because all they care about is whether their problem gets solved. Are you getting them from point A to point B? Listen, when it comes to business, no matter what anybody tells you, boring is beautiful. Predictability is your best friend in business. So stop overbuilding, stop overthinking. Don't chase complexity for the sake of looking smart. I'm talking to myself here, right? Because I'm so guilty of this. I'm still unlearning it. But the whole point is to build simple, stable systems that create obvious value for yourself, for your business, and of course for your customers, because that's where the actual transformation happens. Hey, quick break in the video. I was taking some quick notes because I know it's a lot of information coming at you fast. So I compiled it all together, some simple tools, some tricks, and some frameworks for using AI in your business. If you click the first link in the description, you can download that completely free. At the second link in the description, you can explore some options to work with me directly so I can help you cut through all of the busy work, get back more time using AI systems. So click the second link in the description for that. All right, now let's get back to the video. Now, lesson number 4 is something that it took me about 18 months to learn. Process over prompts. When ChatGPT first opened up in 2022, all you could do was prompt AI to do some things. And the novelty of that and the wow factor and the fact that you can put in this thing and it can get spit out paragraphs and paragraphs of information super fast, get you almost intoxicated off of what you can just put into the AI or the tool, right? And most people obsess over this, and this is the wrong thing, right? They might spend days tweaking an AI prompt, or just in business in general, you stacking tools, you getting this new subscription. It makes you feel good because you spend some money. You're working on the logo, you're working on the website because it looks impressive, but it don't really answer the problem. Like, I know I used to bounce back and forth between all types of websites, between building in Lovable, designing in Framer, using Card for a landing page. Like, all of these tools, all of this access leads to analysis paralysis, and that's not what we want. But when it comes to using AI in your business, the prompts and the tools are the easy part to change. The real challenge, the real priority is understanding the process that your tools are meant to improve. You can have the smartest AI system in the world, but if it's plugged into a broken system or a broken process, it's going to make that process break faster. It's going to make everything else around you, shut down, mess up. You're going to waste way more time trying to fix it than you did trying to put it together. Think about it like a doctor trying to prescribe medicine without really understanding how your body works, what your body chemistry is, what your blood type is, what kind of symptoms you have, right? The medicine could work for somebody else, but it may not work for you, or it could even make things worse, right? So AI works the same way. If you don't understand how the body of the business is working, if you don't understand the business processes first, your system is going to be misaligned and messed up from day one. It don't matter how much AI you try to use. It might look great in the demo, but in production, like real life, real time production, it's going to crash, it's going to be a mess, and it's going to mess up everything within your business. And this is the most shocking thing I learned by talking to a lot of different prospects and clients. A lot of times, you don't even need a custom AI solution. You might just need a better CRM tool, a couple different added columns, maybe even one or two small formulas. You might just need a cleaner workflow, less steps, or when it comes to AI, you might just need one $20 subscription to a LLM, a large language model, to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or Perplexity. Trust me, those four are the 80-20 of the AI boom. The LLMs, all the other stuff, they might be cool. If you live in America, those are top four. You don't need to force AI into everything, and you may not even need it to solve the most important problems within your business. So as a forward-thinking business owner that knows that they're going to be using AI, or you're already using AI, your job is not to build with AI. Your job is just to study. Study the processes that currently work in your business. What parts are repetitive? What parts require judgment? Where does the human touch actually add value in your business? Right? I break all of this down in my touch versus tech filter. So again, you can access that at the first link in the description. So let me give you an example, right? When it comes to customer support, AI can draft like 80 to 90% of your replies, because customers often, like if you do a review on Reddit or just like break down somebody's Google reviews or Amazon reviews, you're going to see a lot of the same replies. You can ask AI to summarize the replies or summarize the reviews, and then you can look at that as the human interaction, right, or the person overseeing this, the human in the loop, and you know what your response, what your company's response, or what your business response is to handle that actual pain point. So when it comes to customer support, as soon as somebody types that in, you can automate the response. Here's a refund. Here's a coupon. Here are the instructions. This is what you need to do, right? You can add this into sales scripts. You can add this into your CRM. There's a pattern here, right? The AI should fit the process, not dictate it, okay? Some things require your craft. Some things require you to coach the AI. And some things require you to eliminate it totally. And then sometimes you're going to get fortunate and have AI fully automate the full process. And that's another thing. I'm really glad we got to this point. So if you're still watching, you're still sticking around, I really appreciate it, because we're about to talk about something that a lot of people go through when it comes to using AI and these digital tools in their business. Stop chasing perfection. So many business owners or managers or employees in the business expect AI to be perfect out of the box every single time. Nothing is going to be perfect right away. That's why you have to iterate. That's why you have to test, go back and forth, and improve things as you learn. That applied to when you first started out in your business. That applied when you sold your first product or your first service or your first tool or whatever you have, to you selling the fifth one, because you probably iterated, you made some changes. You got a clothing line, you picked a different shirt fabric or a different supplier, a different screen printer, right? You change and you iterate everything else in your business. Why do you expect that you don't have to do the same thing for AI. So you have to understand that things will not be perfect. And you don't know what you don't know until something is actually live, right? And you're using it for real world use. Okay, that's where you get a POC, right? A proof of concept. Like for me, when I started my juice bar, my proof of concept was literally hosting juice pop-ups in my apartment. I took pictures, I had photos, I was in my kitchen, I moved all the furniture out my living room, told everybody to come through, put a few chairs in there, had some little stands selling my t-shirts, and then I was in the kitchen, which is attached to the living room, pressing juice. And my friends were just handing me cash. My mom would come over and help me out. And that's when you come to another term like we like to talk about in the business space, the MVP, the minimum value product. Now I see, after we had these juice pop-ups, these are the 3 juices that's selling the most. 1, the proof of concept work. The minimum valuable product is these 3 juices right here. These joints going straight on some real menu in real time. So that's how you figure things out, and you got to iterate and you keep making the changes. You get it working, you make it useful, and then you make it better. And it sounds counterintuitive, but one of the most beautiful things about AI is that it allows you to fail faster, right? And if you doing it right, the faster you fail, the faster you learn, and then you can make more improvements better. Like especially if you're working on, say, an internal tool, or you're building your own SaaS tool. You know, hopefully some of my brothers and sisters out there are building their own SaaS products. You can build and implement a feature in a few hours because somebody sent you an email and said, yo, this don't work, this part broken, or could you do it this way? Could you change the color? That's nothing but, 6 digits in the hex code. So it allows you to fail faster, learn faster, and improve faster. So instead of obsessing over every single detail, just focus on the next best step. Does it work? What's wrong? What can you change? And again, back to the Pareto principle. You're going to spend just 20% of your time building. Even if it seems like a long 20%, what matters even more is the 80% of understanding, going through the failing and learning. That is what's going to get you. That's most of the output, just learning and understanding more about your business. Because prompts might give you an output, but the process that you experience, that you go through as a business owner, that's what's going to be the input. That input is what's really going to get you leverage. And so there you have it. The 4 biggest lessons that every business owner gets wrong about using AI. Lesson number 1, AI automation is not about automation. It's about leverage. Lesson number 2, stop chasing every tool. Stop trying to do too much. Go deep on what actually solves the problems in your business and solves problems for your customers. Lesson number 3, complexity fails, simplicity scales. Build systems that are reliable, not just impressive to you or to your business associates or peers or even to your customers. Boring and predictable is your friend in business. And lesson number 4, processes over everything, especially processes over prompts. Understand the business problems, understand what you're already doing before you go to try to build an AI solution. So look, I started Green Book Digital because I saw too many black entrepreneurs grinding themselves into the ground just to scale up their business. They working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, sacrificing their health, sacrificing their families, all their creative energy, just to keep a couple dollars coming into their business. I literally used to stand in my cafe 12 to 14 hours a day, come home, do payroll, do the next Instagram post. So I know what it's like to have super long days, right? And the hustle culture says that that's what it takes. And honestly, if you want exceptional results, you're going to have to put in some exceptional work. So there's going to be times you got to work 80 hours a week. I'm not saying that that doesn't apply, but that's not the way you have to do it. That's not sustainable. And you don't have to just rely on grit and grind. You can leverage AI to take the load off your plate and start expanding your business so that it works more for you than you work for your business. But understand that AI is not magic. But when you use it correctly, it's going to remove a lot of those repetitive tasks, the tasks that you actually hustle to get done, that actually drain you. It's going to let you focus on your craft. It's going to let you focus on improving your product, the stuff that only you can do and increases value on your time. So keep that in mind, because you didn't start your business to be controlled by it. You started your business so that you can control your time. And AI is just a tool. It's a really powerful tool that's going to help you own your time, not just your LLC. So my challenge to you is to find one process in your business this weekend. Just one. Don't try to do too much. Ask yourself a few questions. What can I fully automate in this process? What can AI assist me with in this process? And what needs to stay human? What is the things that I need to maintain control of? Don't overcomplicate it. Start simple. Get some leverage and start reclaiming your time. And if you want me to work with you on helping you get back more of your time by using the right AI systems to reduce all of that admin work, all of that busy work, click the second link in the description. I'm also dropping a new podcast I'm really excited about. It's called Built Different, where I'm talking with other black entrepreneurs on how they use frameworks and creative solutions to build up their businesses and then move them into the future. Okay? If you found this video valuable, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and maybe even drop me a comment, because that's going to help more business owners find this content. I appreciate you making it to the end, and I'll check you out in the next one.